What is up, YouTube? Fable Grimro, doing my video after the Tachyon sneak. Let me tell you just kind of how this weekend went. For those that don't know, I'm from Delaware, so a lot of my friends ended up going to the New Jersey YCS that was this weekend. Because I have been completely so unfocused from YuGiOh for the past few months because I've had to do some student teaching stuff and a lot of finish up my classwork for my graduation from grad school. I've had no time whatsoever to sort of prepare for it, and I decided that I'd rather go to the sneak than try to go to the YCS at the last minute. And there was a lot out of the set that I wanted, and a lot that actually everyone wanted. First and foremost was these guys, the elemental dragons, the dragon rulers. They were all rare. The big guys, they're all level 7. They discard, get an effect. It's like, for those that don't know what these guys do, look them up now because you're going to be seeing this for the next 6 months or so. This is essentially going to be like the top deck of this coming format. All these guys were like $10 rares. Honestly, not a lot of people were pulling these, which didn't really help at how valuable they were. There was like one or two guys that were just buying packs and were borrowing stuff from friends to try to play it at the little tournament there. There's 8 of them actually. There's the 4 big guys. The only one I was able to get was Tempest, the win one. They're all level 7. They're all rares too, which is great. $10 rares, I might add, but And then there are the baby dragons that are all like 3 or 4 stars, and their purpose is essentially to search for the big guys. So you got one of each element: the fire, the wind, the earth, and the water. And really, what the deck does is spam level 7s. So they're going to go into your big eye, your abyss Gaios, your Gaia Dragoon, and also this guy that I pulled. This was one of the other cards that people wanted out of this set. Was the Mecha Phantom Beast was one of the new archetypes they released in the set. The Exceed, rank 7, 2 level 7 monsters, 2600 attack. You can detach a material from this card, special summon 2 Mecha Phantom Beast tokens, have no attack and no defense. And while you control a token, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. Once per turn, you contribute 1 Mecha Phantom Beast monster. Then target 1 card on the field, destroy the target. This card cannot attack any after this effect. So what this guy is you're going to summon out 1 or 2 of him, really easy to do in dragons and some other decks as well, and get your field full of tokens. He's invincible as long as you have those tokens out, and you can pop a token, destroy a card on the field, and you just run 3 of these guys and just keep summoning him. He's on par with Big Eye as the best rank 7 monster there is, and he's also on par as far as price goes as well. So this was one of the other cards that people wanted at the sneak. The other big card that people wanted, besides the dragons, besides Dragosack, was Spellbook of Judgment, which, if you also know what that does, essentially, for every spell card you activate during the turn you activate a Judgment, you add another spellbook from your deck to your hand. So it's sort of like the final card that pushes prophecies over the top and makes them, plus infinite just about, where, I'm going to get 10 cards in my hand off of 1 card, and then summon a level 3 monster. So I can go for the, Justice, Injection Fairy Lily, or Jowgen the Spiritualist. So, that was the other card that was, running for, $100, and everyone that pulled it at my sneak, was not giving it up, so I'm just going to wait and see maybe if the hype dies down a little bit and I can pick up 3 for my Constellar, or my Prophecy deck. On that note, which was actually kind of good, is I think because there weren't as many people at this sneak as there usually were, because a lot of people were in the YCS, and because a lot of people were so focused on the dragons and stuff like that, a lot of the other good cards out of this set were surprisingly extremely easy to get. And usually at sneaks, people don't really know their values, so you can either get stuff very cheaply, or it's extremely overpriced. So essentially, I was able to pick up just about everything else out of the set that I wanted for at a really, really good value. I only entered, like, I went to 2 different sneaks. I went to 1, I got there at like 11 something, and then I pretty much like stayed there the entire time until like I got to my other locals at like 4, but by then everyone had left. I made like 1 trade and that was it. So let me start off with 3 Constellar Omega. One of them is Ulti 2, by the way. It's really nice. Gotta get a second one. But this guy is like the best rank 4 for the Constellar deck. You just need 2 level 4 light monsters, so a lot of decks can make him. And once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, and all Constellar monsters you control are currently unaffected by spell and trap cards. So he's essentially the Constellar equivalent to the Ophion Pandemic play, whereas Pandemic protects all Evil Swarms from spell and trap cards that turn. This guy does it in monster form, and he's 2400 attack. He's really good. Pretty much any light deck like Thunders, Constellars, Worms. Try to think of some other ones that summon out light monsters like that. But definitely run 1 or 2 of him in the builds. I'm trying to find room for 2 in my extra deck, and I might be stuck with 1 because I have other guys like Pallid Dynamo and stuff like that in my Constellar deck. So, but he is insane for a rank 4. The other Constellar guys out of here, as well as Evil Swarm, were Sombre and Surcion. Now, I got myself a set of Sombre. I only got myself 2 Surcion. I got to get a third one. And they both essentially have the same effect. You can only use each effect of them once per turn. While this card is in your graveyard, it was sent there during the turn. You can normal summon 1 one monster during that turn again. You can banish, but and that's not, and that's like really cool. But you can banish 1 of the respective monsters from your graveyard to add another one back from your graveyard to your hand. So essentially, the idea of what these guys do is sort of like a follow-up Xyz play. So in the deck, you'll go your summon, overlay, detach, do whatever, and then next turn you would go summon this thing, banish your thing, add 1 back to your hand, summon it again, and then go into a second Xyz. So it's essentially like a 1-card Xyz for both the decks. Both really good. Definitely 2 or 3 ofs in each deck. This is like the final card that Evil Swarm need, as well as Constellar along with Omega, for them to be really good. So both those decks are going to be pretty hot, as well as like Dragons and Mermails and Fire Fist and those other decks that are going to be all next format. So both of these guys are going to be around a lot too next for these coming few months. Another card that people wanted out of this set was the Harpy stuff. And yeah, Harpies were like, everyone remembers them as like the old archetype, Harpy Lady. You only have like 3 in your deck. They made like, Harpy Queen and stuff like that, that My Valentine used on the show. And then now they're coming out with more support for the archetype. First one being Harpy Channeler, which is kind of like the deck Summoner Monk. I got 2 ultis and 1 ultra. Essentially, you discard a Harpy card, special summon a Harpy monster from your deck in defense mode, except itself. If you control a Dragon type monster, the level of this card becomes 7, and it's Harpy related while it's in the graveyard. So what this does is you discard any Harpy card, and you can summon out any Harpy monster, either being one of the level 4s, so like your Harpy Lady 1, your normal Harpy Lady, your Cyber Harpy Lady, your Baby Pet Dragon, or your Big Pet Dragon as well, the level 7 thing that was only released in like one of the old games, and then it was like a secret in like a Dark Legends pack or something like that. But it was like a really expensive like collector's card. It was like $50 for no reason back in the day. And then once this thing got revealed, the price like jumped to like over 100 like overnight. Yeah, it's gonna be a pain in the butt to get those, let me tell you. But essentially, this card allows for you can go into any rank 4 or rank 7 play. So you summon out another Harpy, go into rank 4 like a Chidori, or go into rank 7 like a Big Eye or Jack Cossack. So this is like one of the key cards for the new Harpy deck, and that deck got really hyped. I think some of the hype died down a little bit, but it's still a really, really dangerous deck to watch out for. I don't know how meta it's really going to be, but it's definitely going to be around. The other card is Hysteric Sign. When this card is activated, add 1 Elegant Egotist from your deck to your hand. During the end phase of the turn, this card was sent from the field or hand to the graveyard. Add 3 Harpy cards with different names from your deck to your hand. You can only activate 1 per turn. So what this card does is essentially net you. You pop it with your Harpy's Hunting Ground. When you summon a Harpy, you play the Hunting Ground, activate this thing, summon a Harpy, pop this card, or if your opponent is dumb enough to MST it or something like that. And then during the end phase, you add 3 Harpy monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. Really, really darn good. And this is sort of like the card that keeps Harpies like having all the card advantage. You're discarding for Channeler and Hysteric Party, and then this card gets you all your advantage back, just like that. So that's the Harpy stuff. This is one of the TCG exclusives, Totem Bird. 2 level 3 wind monsters. During either player's turn, when a spell or trap card is activated, you can detach two materials from this card to negate and destroy that card. And if it has no materials, it becomes 1600 attack. It doesn't really matter that much. So it's essentially like a mini Logia for like spell and traps. 2 level 3 winds is kind of hard to do in most wind decks. Like Harpies can't really make it. Miss Valley can't really make it. Draconides can't really make it. Gusto can make it if you want to, but and I think the Mech Fan and Beast can make this guy too. It's a really good card. You just gotta find the right deck for it. Let's see. Some of the other stuff I got was a Gauntlet Launcher. Another rank 6 monsters. Rank 6 is starting to get really crowded because there's a lot of good rank 6s. Here's another one. Detach 1 material from this card and destroy a face-up monster your opponent controls. 2400 attack, 900 defense. He's solid. Torrential Reborn. Sort of like an opposite of Torrential Tribute. When face-up water monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon all the monsters destroyed and sent from the graveyard at that time, and then like inflict 500 damage to your opponent's life points for each monster, and you only activate 1 per turn. Like, it's an okay card, not secret rare worthy though, I don't believe. I got 2 Fire Formation Gyokus. This is a neat little card for Fire Fists. You target 1 set spell or trap your opponent controls, and your opponent can activate that card. And while this is face up on the field, all Beast Warriors gain 100 attack, so it's another neat little continuous spell and trap cards that blocks your opponent's spell and traps from going off. Some of the Badland Boxers guys, probably one of the worst name changes ever. Badland Boxer. But the set also introduced the Chaos Xyz. There's a magic card in here called Rank Up Magic that you can essentially, like, it's a magic card. You go like, how you go like Utopia or Utopia Ray. You would go, summon your number out and then rank up into the Chaos number with the magic card, and then this guy would get another effect based on if you ranked up with him. These guys aren't really that. They're Badland Boxer guys, not that great, but for the Numbers Hunters. That's pretty much why I picked up those cards for it, was my Numbers Hunter friends. Turtle Trancer was the sneak peek promo. I only entered 3 times, by the way, and I just kind of like got the other 2. I got 1 for my friend and 1 someone just like left on the table. I only entered 3 times though, and then I got all this stuff through trades and stuff like that, so it's pretty nice. The card's not really that great in the Mecha Fan and Beast deck though, so it's kind of whatever. Let's see what else I have here. Ghost Fairy Elphobia. This is sort of like the counterpart to the Elfuria that was released last set, and it was like that terrible wind monster that no one wanted as a secret. This thing's actually pretty decent. It's a level 3 wind psychic monster, so you can E-Tele this card out too, by the way. Once per turn, you can reveal 1 wind monster in your hand. Until the end phase of your opponent's main phase 1, monsters with a level higher than the revealed monsters cannot activate their effects. So you can like E-Tele this thing out against like your Mermails, your Dragons, reveal some level 3 or 2 or 1 wind monster or 4 wind monster, and your opponent can't activate effects of monsters with a higher level than that. So they can't get their Dragons, they can't get their Mermails. stuff like that. So this card is actually decent. Might be a nice tech of, like a one of in some like Psychic and like Gusto decks and stuff like that, as they can just ETL this thing out, use its effect, and lock your opponent down a little bit. Madolche's got a few cards out of here. They got Hoot Cake, which I had one and then I traded it off because it was just a good deal. I'll have to get them back later. And Madolche Knights, which is like their counter traps, or like the War Chariot or Infernity Barrier, the archetype. It's okay though, not as great. I don't think a lot of people actually run it. When a monster effect is activated, you have no monsters in your graveyard. Negate the activation, and then if you control a Pudinsis, you can shuffle a random card from your opponent's hand back into the deck. So it's a really powerful card. The thing is the having no monsters in the graveyard is kind of iffy, as stuff like Hoot Cake and Tiara Masu will sort of get monsters out of your graveyard. But if you're stuck with like a Veiler, or I know a lot of the decks run like the TG engine, it kind of conflicts with this thing, and it does. It does okay, but I don't think a lot of decks run it. And Duck Fighter, it was a card brought over. It's kind of terrible. It's supposed to help support the Mecham Fan and Beasts, I believe. So those are most of the holos that I got, and some of the rares of note. Xyz Revenge. This card's really cool. It's sort of like a Monster Reborn for Xyz. If your opponent has an Xyz, you can detach material, summon out an Xyz from your graveyard, and then put that material on the monster you just summoned. So it's kind of like a magic card of Xyz Reborn, although a little bit more restrictive. It's a little bit more powerful. Pretty overlooked card, but hey, it's pretty nice, I think. Ice Beast Zero Fiend. This card's really cool for like Wing Beast decks, so like the Harpies and some other cards. You can detach material and negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. And if you do, this card gains 300 attack for each face-up card your opponent controls on the field. So this thing is pretty good. Negate your opponent's monster's effects, which about every other card seems to do nowadays. It's really annoying. But then also gains 300 attack for every card they have, so it can gain, like, become a 2600 attack, 2900 attack monster really easy. Try Fortress Ops. This was like the first TCG card they revealed, sort of like a response to the E-Dragons. I don't know how great it's going to be, but a lot of people are probably going to be trying to do it. Fairy Cheer Girl. 2 level 4 fairies, detach material, draw a card. 1900 attack, solid. Herald Crest, sort of like another number. He's not all that great, as you need 3 level 4s, and as we all know, things like Shockmaster and Evil Swarm Ouroboros and Vylon Omega are probably do a better job than him. Battling Boxer, Lead Yoke. This is sort of like the really annoying card in the Battling Boxer deck, as like all the other cards in the deck are kind of eh. This is the card that's like really, really super annoying. You need 2 level 4 Battling Boxers, and if a Battling Boxer be destroyed by a battle by card effect, you can detach material to cards not destroyed, and then he gains 800 attack. So he's obnoxious. Harpy's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, another Harpy card, sort of like a Xyz pet dragon. You need 3 level 4 wins. It can attack your opponent directly, and your opponent cannot target any Harpy cards with effects or attacks. And during each end phase, you detach material. Another Harpy card. It's a solid option, but again, the 3 level 4s are a pretty tight bunch. And then 2 commons I wanted to point out, and they're probably 2 of the most underrated cards in this set, and they made them commons. I'm really happy about that. The first one is Mind Drain. You guys know Soul Drain, the rare card that like everyone's side decks. This is that negates stuff from the graveyard. This is Mind Drain that pay 1,000 life points, and then effects of monsters in the hand can't be activated. So this thing, along with Soul Drain, shuts down just about every deck that's out there. So, your Prophecies can't use Priestess effect, your Dragons can't use their effects, the Mermails can't. This is going to be a card that a lot of people are going to start siding. The other one is King of the Feral Imp, sort of like an update to the old Feral Imp and Death Feral Imp. 2 level 4 monsters, so he's generic. He's a reptile, 2400 attack, or 2300 attack. Once per turn, detach 1 Xyz material and add a reptile type monster from your deck to your hand. Doesn't seem as impressive until you look at like what decks can run him. So like your aliens, if you want to, worms really make good use of this guy. And I've seen a lot of gadget players and rabbit players run this guy because of Kage Tokage, the level 4 reptile that like summons himself. So you would go into him, detach, search for a Kage Tokage, summon your Kage, and then go into like another Xyz instantly. So he's a really cool card, probably 2 of the best commons in the set, along with the baby dragons. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching my video. I guess I should have said this at the start, but I'll say it now because it's at the end. None of this stuff is for trade yet. Some of the stuff's going to go into decks. I'm trying to pick up some more. If I ever get around to doing a trade video on here, you guys, will be the first to know. Or hit me up on Pojo, because I'm still on there. I don't really trade much on Pojo anymore, but hit me up on there. So, thanks for watching, guys.